And welcome to the Life with Joey Calvo podcast. I am Joey Calvo. Welcome to the Life with Joey Calvo podcast. I am Joey Calvo. Today I have Phyliis Okon. She Okon. I'm sorry, Okon. Sorry. She co-founded BLS Limousine Service with her late husband almost 50 years ago. A former social studies teacher, she quit teaching to run the back office from her tiny kitchen in Syosset, Long Island. The company grew to 3 offices after her husband's death. Her and her 2 sons expanded to 11 more, including a flagship office in London. BLS today is a proudly woman-operated, owned, and world-renowned limousine company. At 55, she reinvented herself to begin a writing career that produced 83 books, many of them award-winning. Writing as Carol P. Roman and Britt London, she has enchanted children's parents and teachers with several fiction and nonfiction series. Her joke book, The Big Book of Silly Jokes for Kids, shot to the top of Amazon, outselling every other book for 2 months. Her young adults novel, Grady Will and the Templeton Codex, is currently being turned into a screenplay. After her husband passed, she ventured into mediumship classes, eventually being singled out of her mentorship and endorsed by seatbelt physic Thomas John. As Lady Phyllis, her ability to connect and give evidential information has built this new venture to monthly sessions and steady clientele. Combining her love of teaching with her many talents, she has now opened several courses sharing her knowledge and demystifying mediumship to enable a new generation to embrace it. Phyllis has traveled many roads, a teacher, CEO, best-selling and award-winning author, wife, mother, and grandmother. Her biggest fear was being irrelevant as she got older. Her unique experiences have made her a compassionate and understanding medium, CEO, and author, proving you don't have to give up anything because of age. Phyllis, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
I think I said too much out of that, but that folks, this paper was long enough to read. So Phyllis, how did you get started with how did you get to the point where you're at now outside of, in a way of what I've said?
Well, do you mean how did I get started in the limo business, or how did I get started with mediumship, or how did I get writing books?
Well, start with the teaching actually.
Well, I went to school. I became a social studies teacher, and I taught at a local junior high. They called them junior high back then. It's a middle school now.
Yeah.
And I was teaching, and my husband was an immigrant, and he had trouble with English. And he asked me if I would run the back office so that he could drive, and I would take appointments. So I agreed, and I gave up teaching. And I went into I started calling local limousine services in the city, and I would ask, how do they do things? And we built it up from nothing. We started the business with a $1,200 investment by my younger brother, bless you, and we built it into a very large business. Today we have over 700 employees. We're in many different cities throughout America, and including London and the UK. And,
Sorry.
no, bless you again. And I run the business. I'm the CEO with my 2 sons, my 2 grown sons.
Okay. All right. So before we go on to the next part of the excuse me, so choked up today. Don't know why. So I'm going to get to that question that I mentioned before we got started.
Sure.
Anonymous had a question of, how can you help me get my transportation? Because I've been trying to work on a casino bus service myself for the past 25 years. And I'm incorporated. I don't have a lot of money to work with anymore because I've tried putting it into the bit, trying to get, what I need to get the business going. But as I'm trying to get the business going, to try to get like funding and stuff, kind of fell apart because the credit scores.
Well, it's hard. What city are you in?
I'm in Philadelphia.
You're in Philly. Philly has a pretty big bus. We deal with a number of companies in Philadelphia. The best way to get started on doing that is to go work for somebody who has buses already and
Okay.
learn the business. Like you see, it's not just casino buses, but there are a lot. Jersey has a huge card of drug companies, pharmaceutical companies.
Right.
There's a lot of businesses.
Mhm.
Amazon has a huge presence in Philly, so you have those kind of businesses.
Mhm.
One bus will make you a living, but
Yeah.
you're the only one who can drive it really, or you have a driver, whatever. But it takes a long time to make money in this business unless you have multiple vehicles working for you. Right
Right.
now, it's very hard to get insurance. It's hard to get financing.
Right.
Financing is
Yeah.
through the roof. People are playing 6-7% for cars, 11% for
Mhm.
vehicles. So it makes it very hard, and
Yeah.
it's competition is pretty stiff. So then once you have your vehicles, you have to go out and try to get accounts. I cold
Mhm.
call. I took the yellow pages and I would sit in my kitchen and cold call accounts,
Mhm.
and that's how I built up our first book of business.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm looking at the South Jersey is the only because what I'm working on, um, Phyllis, is there's a casino up in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania.
Mhm.
It used to be called Sands. It's
Right.
then called Wind Creek. And the bus company that used to run buses out of Philly just went out of business one day.
Mhm.
So I'm just trying to fulfill that void because there's no other buses that go from Philly.
You have to get the contract. You have to go to the casino and bid for the contract. You usually bid. It's usually a blind bid. There are other companies, and they will go. They look at insurance. They look at your policies.
Right.
It helps if you're women-owned business. All the different kinds of things,
Yeah.
and they'll make a decision based on whether you can provide what they need.
Oh, I mean, it's already been set. It's just trying to, like I said, trying to get the buses and the financing together to get the buses to do that. I mean, Wind Creek was fine with me coming up and starting out as like a charter. So
Right.
I've already talked to them. So that part was already covered. So that I mean, it's just try. I'm just saying that in the Philly area, there's no buses that go to this one casino. So
Right.
so that's why I'm saying I'm trying to fulfill that need. I mean, there's Shepherd that's down.
Mhm.
I mean, there's Shepherd and there's Safety, but none of them ever. I've never seen them up at Wind Creek.
Right.
So that's why I'm saying I'm fulfilling that need of. Um,
So you're looking for financing to get buses, like you need a finance company.
yes,
So do you have the buses or you're buying used buses?
I'm buying used buses if I do it.
Nobody's going to loan you money for used buses. They won't finance used
Oh,
buses.
okay. Okay. Because the
That's
new ones,
true.
yeah, the new ones I'm looking at, the new D4505s that were redesigned were going for about 600,000.
Mhm.
The J's were going for about 7. And now they have the electric ones and they're going, I think I was told almost 1.1 million just for electric J4505. But they also have the J3505s too. Um, so um, So yeah, if I went with a budget like that, then I'd be looking at like about 3 million
Mhm.
because that'd be enough for at least three of the um, of the D's. And
Mhm.
and like I said, the new D4505s are really nice. I actually got to see one. Um, I actually got to see one last year. So hopefully um, be able to do that. If you know of any financing companies that might help, can you email them to me?
I sure would, but no financing company will finance used vehicles.
Oh no, if I explained about the new,
Oh, if you, yeah, sure.
yeah,
If I know of any, you could apply to Stearns Bank does buses, and you know,
okay,
go to
okay,
bank does financing for buses and what do you call it?
And also, yeah, the other one I was looking at was at the time it was a company called Grech Motors.
Gretsch Motors does.
Gretsch, yeah, they had the EG40, which had had the bathroom in it. It was a 36 passenger at the time, and they stopped making them when the pandemic came around. But there's another company I kind of Executive Bus Builders. I went to them, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we could do this. It's just this for It came out to like 200,000-300,000, and they were like the regular shuttle buses that you see, the Ford shuttle buses, the Ford F-550s, yeah, like those type shuttle buses, but it would have a bathroom in it. So yeah, that was. So if I got that, I could do that, or I could do the Freightliner. The Freightliner was, I think the Freightliner was about 400,000 when I priced it. That's including the bathroom and the USB outlets, and make it Wi-Fi accessible for the customers. So, all right, Phyllis, let's get off. We gotta get off the business part. Let's get to the author bit, the author part.
Well, I started to write books at 55, and I published over 83. And they're all different genres. I do children's books and adult fiction, and now I write, I write books on mediumship.
Okay. All right. Now, folks, I did put a notation in. If you do have a question for our guests, it cannot be can your significant other come back from the dead, or what are they saying right now to me as I'm sitting here listening to this podcast or watching this podcast on YouTube? She would have to sit down one-on-one. So what we're asking is if you have any general questions in reference to the medium, like we're going to ask right now on how she got started into it more, and maybe explore a little bit more, and any advice that she may have for anybody who could be who think they may have the power to be a medium, or the theory to be a medium. She can probably explain that, but in reference to questioning about significant things, she's unable to do that. So let's talk about Lady Phyllis now.
Okay. Well, Lady Phyllis, during the pandemic, I started taking lessons on mediumship. I studied with about 10, 15 different teachers. And then I found that I could do it. And I hung out my shingle, and I do readings. But not only that, now I've started teaching, and right now I have 3 classes going on. So,
okay. All right. So, in reference to the classes, explain what these classes are more of.
Well, the classes open up your third eye and make it. Everybody is receiving signs. You've received signs from the time you were a child. You've gotten messages and signs, but we're told to kind of ignore it. When we were little and we would see or hear or feel things, our parents would say, "No, it's your imagination," and slowly but surely we distance ourselves from it. So in my class, each class is 5 different evenings. So level 1 sort of opens up to all the different ways we are receiving. Like tonight, I'll be doing a class on clairvoyance and clairaudience, which is all the different ways that we see and hear and feel things. Level 2 is more intense, and they actually get to read people. And by level 3, most people are reading already. And then we go over past life regressions, things like that.
Okay. So the next, okay, sorry about that. So one of your books outsold every other book on Amazon for 2 months. How did that change your life?
It really did, and it was just a great achievement. Um, I was paid to write the book, so I didn't make, even though the book was a really big bestseller, I didn't really make anything from it. I
Okay.
was paid a fee to write the book, but it did get me an agent and a film agent, so that was really good.
Okay, yeah, explain. Yeah, talk about that now in reference to.
Well, I have a book, Grady Will and the Templeton Codex,
Okay,
and a script's been made already, and it's being shopped around. So we'll see. We'll see if we get a bite on it. Hopefully, it's going to be on Netflix or whatever pretty soon.
okay. Is sure not Amazon Prime?
But that'd be great too. We'll take anybody.
Yeah, the reason why I'm laughing, and you mentioned, we mentioned about how your books sell on Amazon is, I actually work at Amazon part time
Oh, okay.
in the sortation centers. So, it's like I mentioned it, I crack up because it's like I work at Amazon, like all this is going on. Like, why did I put, like, I should be going to Amazon Prime and saying, listen, here, put this podcast on your channels, something like that. But now, how do you pivot from genre to genre when you write, and where do your where do your many books stand now?
Well, there's a lot of books that homeschoolers are using. I have a series, If You Were Me and Lived In, and this series takes children from country to country and gives them 10 things to think about if they live in that country. Then I have a series, If You Were Me and Lived In, that's historical, that does the same thing for historical periods. So those are nonfiction. Then I have fiction. I have quite a few stories. I have a Captain No Beard series, which is an imaginary game that a child plays, that it's pirates. I have an Oh Susanna series. I have the Grady Will series. So those are just different. I have a nursery series, which tells gentle stories that always have a lesson for children. Um, then, as Britt London, I write adult fiction. It's a little bit more horror and paranormal. It's just I write whatever mood I'm in, whatever I'm feeling.
Okay. Now getting to the advice. What advice would you give new authors, possibly those that may be interested in looking into the medium?
Well, if you're looking into being a new author, understand that it doesn't end with writing the book. There's a lot of expense that goes into it. You have to have it formatted, you have to have it edited, and then when you publish it, you have to promote the book, which is really that takes up a lot of time and effort. People think they're just going to write the book and it's going to become an automatic bestseller. It takes a lot of work. I devote at least 2 to 3 hours a day on marketing for any of the things that I'm working on. As far as mediumship is concerned, once you see it, you can't unsee it. Mediumship is one of those gifts that keep giving, and
Okay.
once you learn how to use it, you can use it in everyday life.
Okay. All right. All right, Phyllis. That is all the questions I have. And I'm sorry to cut this short. And everything. I try to push out as far as I can in reference to it. And since we don't have many questions popping up outside of the ones I'm popping up,
Okay.
um, and you've reinvented yourself several times as an author, dispatcher for the limousine company, and thank you for the advice on that. A bookkeeper, manager, marketer, CEO, author, mediums, and mediumship teacher. Um, so, how can people reach out to you?
Well, they can look at the books on Amazon. Carol P. Roman, Carole P. Roman, Roman. And if they'd like a reading, they can look me up at ladyphyllis.com. And if they follow me on Facebook, I put up monthly discounts so they could get a discount. If they're interested in taking a class, they're more than welcome. I have multiple classes going on at all time, and I've just signed up to Patron, where I will be Patreon, where
Mm,
I'll be doing a monthly a monthly inner circle that they can join, and I'll be having guests on. So it's all pretty interesting.
Okay, so you're in the process of working on a podcast as well.
Well, it's not a podcast. It's an inner circle. It's a group that we meet and we
Mhm.
discuss things. It's more interactive, more like a Zoom, a group Zoom.
Okay. Have you thought about doing a podcast?
I did a podcast years ago, and it's actually it's very demanding. I don't think people realize how demanding it is. And
Yeah,
yeah,
believe me.
trouble. Yeah.
I've been doing this for 5 years. I pushed, and I pushed to the point where guests actually got uncomfortable even during the podcast
Mm-hmm.
but it wasn't my fault. It was because of someone asked a question on the YouTube channel, and they got so uncomfortable. It just ended right there and then.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like apologizing at the same time because I didn't catch. Not that I try to catch it fast enough, but I didn't realize what was going on
Mm-hmm.
in reference to it. To the point where that person wound up blocking me,
Oh.
and yeah, and it did upset me, of course. But you know, of course, it's a learning process. And like I said, I've been doing this for 5 years. We're coming up on 5 years in September, and we've done over 100 podcasts between this and the previous platform that I use. The YouTube I just started like within the past four. I think we're coming up on 4 years that we started using the YouTube live stream, and I've had the best I had in reference to um, high. I was quote unquote high ticket people
Mm-hmm.
was I had Gregory Jabara from the CBS show Blue Bloods.
Mm-hmm.
I had supermodel. She hates supermodel. Model Carol Alt, but
Mm-hmm.
we did that by phone when we did that. That was before I got on YouTube, and or we tried to do YouTube, and everything got so mixed up. She wound up trying to do it on Instagram for the podcast part, and it kind of messed everything up. So we made it the two parts. But she's a great person, and then I just recently had another actress, Stephanie Santana,
Mm-hmm.
on. So um, it's hard. And the way this has been going, it's almost like it's my time to go as well on it. I'm hopefully trying to get more guests past March 31st. Everybody's going to go, oh. Well, we're working on it. We're trying to go past March 31st first, folks.
Okay. Good luck.
Yeah. I have another podcast on Monday with a mathematician, Noah Healy. So, and of course, this is Pie Day. Yeah, everybody go out and get their pie and find special deals on pie wherever you can. But Phyllis, I thank you for your time.
You're welcome.
If there's anything, I did post on the bottom, ladyphyllis.com for a reading, and then Carol P. Roman. .com and BritLondon.com for her books. So if you get a chance, if you decide to go for a reading, Phyllis will be happy to help you with that. If you're interested in learning to be a medium, and you feel that you have that intuition that you can do it, Phyllis will be happy to help you guide with your transition into being a medium, and will give every piece of advice that she can as she's teaching it to you. Again, Phyllis, thank you so much for your time. I'm sorry I couldn't extend it any much more. Like I said,
great. Thank you.
Yeah, I tried my best to make it at least a half hour. But all right, folks, thank you so much for listening and watching the Life with Joey Calvo podcast. My name is Joey Calvo. God bless you all. Take care.